Most couples think their problem is communication, but what's really breaking things down is the tone underneath. Criticism doesn't just hurt feelings, it signals danger. And once your partner's nervous system feels attacked, real communication is already over. If you've ever thought, why can't we just have a chat without it turning into a fight? And why do they get so defensive so fast? This episode will change how you see those moments in your marriage. Today we're unpacking the single shift that moves couples from criticism to curiosity, and why curiosity isn't softness, it's strength. Stay with us, because the way you start a conversation matters more than anything you say next. If you've ever found yourself thinking, why do we keep having the same argument? Or why does connection feel harder than it used to? You're not alone. Welcome to Marriage, Intimacy and Healing with Andrew and Lara.
We're a husband and wife team, blending science-based coaching and clinical nervous system insight to help couples understand what's really happening underneath conflict, distance, and emotional shutdown.
I'm Lara. I'm an ICF PCC-certified coach and educator.
And I'm Andrew, a licensed physical therapist specializing in body, mind, heart integration with extensive experience helping high-performing individuals navigate stress, communication, and emotional regulation.
Together, we help you recognize the patterns that pull you apart and offer practical, grounded shifts that bring you back into connection. Let's dive into today's episode. Most couples don't mean to criticize, but criticism is usually just being in a rush, like urgency. For example, the kids getting ready for school in the morning and trying to get out the door. It's frustration, normally nothing to do with the tone that you're actually using, but frustration about maybe the rush, getting ready for school, as my example said. Or fear of not being heard. Actually, that fear can cause the tone to already dismantle what would have been a good conversation. So tone is what we're talking about here, and moving from criticism to curiosity. But the body doesn't always hear the intention, as we know, behind the words, hence the book that came out many years ago, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. What we hear is the threat in the tone underneath the words. So let's unpack that together. Criticism is often a protest, not an attack. It's usually something else. And most of us aren't good with rocket science in terms of working out how we feel. So we're going to unpack and give you some tools of how you can actually go, oh, wow, it's my tone, not what I'm saying. We had a few of these things happen this week.
It happens all the time.
It happens all the time. And because we were in this headspace, I was like, it's your tone, babe.
It's so good. I can flick into get it done or matter of fact. And it makes more sense to be that way. So when someone's not expressing everything that is going on, I often find it hard to say, what's really going on here? So this is great to just very quickly register what's the real thing going on here.
Yeah, it is hard. And I was walking with a couple actually recently who said, it seems like we can't talk without things blowing up. And I feel for them, because that's real, and that's real for many of you listening. And what I want to point out here is that quite often in that situation, it's not what you're saying, it's the tone underneath it. And the entry point, and a lot of data research is around this. It's like the way you start a conversation, the way you start an argument, or the tone is actually going to determine where the rest of the conversation goes, and whether it gets derailed entirely or whether you can have a productive conversation, all on your opening line. It's kind of like a TED talk. Is your opening line a hook? Is everyone going to listen after that? Well, is your opening line criticism? Is it full of a threat tone? So what happens is one partner could lead with correction, and then the other one shuts down instantly instead of listening and actually working out what's going on.
When you think about your body and what your body's telling you and your emotions and that sort of thing, are you noticing something in you? So describe in yourself, what are you feeling in those moments? Have you got your shoulders up, tense? Do you feel your jaw tightening? They're all signs that your nervous system is in a threat mode, or it's ready for some encounter or some fight.
Like a big one for me is shortness of breath, like tightness in my chest.
But another skill, just on this quick check-in, is to read the other person in the room. So if you can read them, often, Lara's done this, when I've come with some baggage through the day. And it's maybe something from the day before where I feel like it boils down to, I've done all this hard work and I don't feel seen. And so I come to the discussion with baggage, with something, and she can read it, and they can read the room, man. They can read the room.
Not always with articulation, but we can hear the tone, for sure.
And you walk in the room and you'll bring that to the discussion. Even if you feel like, get past it, I can shove it all down. So read the other person. They might have some of this, but check in with yourself. If you feel some of those things, then it's a good sign your nervous system is in threat mode.
Yeah, and we're so big on this because what we start to notice is that your body is telling you information before your brain actually has worked out what's going on. And when you start to listen to your body, you actually start to open up a space to listen to your emotions and your heart. So I'm starting to notice more that we're in this space. Oh, I'm in fight or flight already, and that can cause an argument that has nothing to do with the actual conversation that's right in front of me. That's why this stuff's so important. So criticism, a way of looking at it, leads to verdict. It's like, oh my gosh, they're judging me. They're telling me I'm doing something wrong, and you don't feel seen. Like you said,
it's like a truth statement, isn't it?
It feels like a truth statement, like it's a verdict. The judge has ruled, and you suck in this moment, or whatever. You're doing something wrong. Where curiosity is an invitation. It's an invitation for let's lean in together and unpack this more. Curiosity doesn't invite the threat the way that criticism does, and I think that that's something that we all need to lean into. Criticism says you're wrong, and curiosity says help me understand. I'm a partner with you. I'm a team with you. How do we do this together? So I really want to challenge that belief because that's really, really important. If you don't point it out, nothing will change is the false belief. You think, if I don't tell them, it's always going to be like this and nothing's going to change. But the reframe here is that people change faster when they don't feel like they're under attack. So if you really want to see your partner change, don't put them into an attack mode.
That's good.
Stop swimming with sharks. Basically, it's like if a shark is feeding, stay out of the water. Don't put them into fight or flight mode, into attack mode. Be curious. So a little bit of research around this is that harsh startups will predict the conversation breakdown. So watch how you start your argument. And safe starts increase communication. A safe start example is, what's coming up for you right now? Or, hey, I'm just curious, like, what are you feeling? Just before we got on here, Andrew and I were having a more heated conversation about something. We've had a big week. We often have. We're in that place in life where we've got kids, life is full. Life is busy. So much of that is just the load of being parents. We're going to do a future episode. So in a couple of weeks, make sure that you're tuned in about that. But what ends up happening in that situation is I said, what's coming up for you right now? We actually grabbed one of the tools that we teach about on this and did that really quickly. And I felt his countenance and his energy shift into a calmer, more receptive place because of curiosity, rather than like, why are you using that tone or whatever. There's a psychological reason that curiosity works well, even if some of you go, that's soft. It's not. It actually tricks the brain into a receptive place. I don't even know if it's a trick, but cognitively you could see it that way. We use a lot of things we call the tricks with our kids. They're not really tricks. They're just going with the brain and getting them not to go into threat mode. So an example of that is we might say to our son, do you want to change the cat litter now or after you play with your friends? So it gives him a sense of autonomy and control, but really he's still got to do the chore.
Because if you've got a choice,
he feels in control, and every time
like, it's not going to happen. No, I don't want to do it. You're like, oh.
But every time he does it, every time, and it never causes a threat. So learn some of these things, even though it might be like weird for you. These things are so helpful. They're so helpful. Physiologically
in our bodies, let's think just briefly about what's happening for us. We talked about the fight and flight. One thing I wanted to say on this as we're getting into it is that it sounds like we're shifting criticism to curiosity, and it becomes this softer thing. Where it's still the passionate nature that you're going to deal with the issue. You're going to face the elephant in the room, or you're going to deal with the big issue. And you don't just code it down, take all this energy to be like, so like, I know this is hard, but we're going to talk about this. You're still going to deal with the big thing, but you come with it from a curiosity standpoint or asking questions. And it completely changes my countenance when Lara comes with questions, because then I feel more understood and asked about these issues, rather than just, boom, there's a verdict on me.
Yeah.
So it's still dealing with the big thing, rather than just feeling like it's soft and it's just coding and it's not really dealing with the big issues.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with you. Like, the reality is that a healthy couple should be having conflict. It's how you have the conflict. Andrew and I have conflict all the time, tense moments. It's just before, like I said, right before we push record, our daughter was in the room, but we were doing such a healthy conflict. I was like, I'm happy for her to be here. I want her to see this. I want her to see what healthy conflict looks like. And we would know if it wasn't, because her threat system would go up and she'd want to leave the room. She actually interjected like a marriage coach and went, Mum, listen to Dad right now.
So it was like both of us needed to do a little bit of checking in. Like, Lara's amazing, like, at all of this, and so aware. But both of us, through a conversation, will need to check in and start to go, oh, something's coming up for me. So just check in about that, and that's something else rearing its head. And so that's not what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
And it helps us hear really, really well, rather than just, oh, we'll get set off by this thing you say.
Yeah.
So we're in fight or flight, right? So in our bodies, that's where the body, it shifts blood flow to our internal organs, because it's like protection mode, that sort of thing. It does shoot out, I just thought in the moment, into your skeletal muscle, because you're in there, fight or flight. You're fighting with a bear or we're in Georgia. But it's
a coyote.
It's off some of the processing centers. So that shifts away from the sort of creative thinking and that sort of place where it's more relaxed, and it's more dreamy, and it's more in that place of flow. Musicians know about that, when you're in a space of flow and you're just letting ideas come and all of that. So it's more of that. And so then defensiveness is not really a choice, it's a reflex. So have compassion on each other, that my defensiveness might not be just my choice or my character flaw, but it might just be a reaction to the tone in the room.
Yeah.
And then same with Lara, if I see a defensiveness. So a little cue, takeaway right now, if defensiveness is happening in your partner, notice that it might just not be their issue.
Yeah.
It might well be just a reflex and something that's in the room. And so someone's got to shift the tone. You can start to shift things, and you can see how it melts away. You can still deal with the thing though. So you can't reason with a nervous system that's threatened, because it's in threat mode. So whereas curiosity, it slows the body. We find there's a slower heart rate. So things are slowing down. That would be more parasympathetic nervous system taking over and being more in drive. And there is a lot more access to things like empathy, logic, reasoning, all those things. These dynamics are happening in our body when we shift. And curiosity is a cool thing. Some who are newer to the term would be like, what does that mean in the moment? You know, how can I be curious? How can I shift to that quickly? And this is a powerful thing, but the thing I came across, it was called the interesting principle.
Yeah.
So that could be that in the moment, Lara's obviously got some big things she's working through. She wants to come to me. I can hear her tones good, but I can hear some passion coming out, maybe. And so I will tell myself, rather than like, well, I'll react and I'll be, in that place, or want to defend myself or something, I'll say, interesting. She's coming with some stuff, and I work so hard at loving her well, at all the XYZ. You could list so many different things, but if it's more of a, interesting, she's feeling this way, it shifts my head from, how do I solve this? How do I react like a normal man in the situation?
Threat response.
Or just trying to fix the thing because I'm uncomfortable when she's not happy or something. It shifts it towards, interesting, what's going on? So, and then the second way of that is that I think within myself, interesting, she's maybe got some stuff, but what am I going through right now? Do I feel shame? Do I feel sad at myself? Do I feel angry that I've let this happen? Or do I feel, some big things myself? And so I can, rather than then just go into a shame spiral about, I'm a failure, all the things that I might have grown up with in my head.
She doesn't see me.
Yeah, I'm this, I'm that, I'm that. We've all got things we've grown up with, right? And we've got easy triggers that we can go into a negative place in our head. So the interesting can be in ourselves too, to say, she's going through this and I'm reacting a little. Okay, just slow it. So it can just shift us into that, slow it down and just process.
And I'm going to give you an example right now. So listen to this question. So for example, if Andrew and I were in the middle right now of a heated conversation, aka argument, if I say to him, why are you so angry all the time? Like, why are you being such an idiot? Like, that's obviously inflammatory language, but the why is not a curiosity question. It actually is a threat question to start. It sounds like a statement, therefore a verdict. So if I changed that to, what is coming up for you right now? My tone is still a little bit heated. My face is still a little bit, because I'm obviously getting into reaction, but what is coming up for you right now? What's going on for you? But particularly the word replace why with what is massive. And this is going to take a little bit of training, because these patterns, they're often built into you in such a quick way that you go into them. And I've noticed this over the years, just in parenting, that I've had to really look at my nervous system and when I'm getting riled up, because before I say anything or I snap at my children, I've always noticed it's my nervous system that's already in fight, flight, faint, fawn, freeze, whatever. It's usually fight, flight. And when I'm like that, I'm never going to respond in a healthy way unless I've trained myself to recognize it, take a breath, calm myself, say, hey. And I do some funny things, like sometimes emotionally, and I don't mean literally. This is literally a trick that I do that I got out of the Hunt, Gather, Parent book. But I say, I'm a rock. And I just go, nothing's going to penetrate me right now. And I just calm myself and I teach myself that I'm capable of not being reactive like that.
That's really good.
It works in marriage, it works in parenting.
Declaration thing that
yes,
I can handle this.
I can take this. Like, for example, if a child's having big feelings or a meltdown and you're just wanting to rile up, which is not going to help the situation, it really works. And it works because it removes the accusation and restores the sense of safety in the room, whether it's with your spouse, with your kids, or whatever.
Another tool, what I would use would just be to take one breath before responding.
Totally.
Take a beat. And that doesn't have to be awkward, like, I'm doing some acting now. But it's more a breath like where you may be thinking, interesting. So maybe in the morning, things were great. We said goodbye. We're all excited. We're enjoying. We had that date last night. Things are cool. This afternoon, boom, like things are going on. So like, interesting, something shifted in the day. So it just gets you into that place of curiosity, both in yourself and your spouse. And so you just take that beat to take a breath. Literally, interesting, what's happening here?
Yeah, it's so simple. However, having said that, I've trained myself to do this and I know that it's hard. I remember when the children were really little, how different and reactive I was as I was learning these tools. I've now been practicing these tools for 10 years and my children will testify that mum doesn't scream. When I first got married, I would have raised my voice. When I first became a mother, I would have raised my voice a lot more. But taking that breath, and for me as a verbal processor versus an internal processor, some of us, this is going to be harder. It's going to be harder to take a breath and not react straight away. Another way that we can be really reactive that we could train ourselves out of is when you get those inflammatory texts, because it's the modern digital world. And for example, you might get a long angry text from your spouse or anybody for that matter, and when you get that and it's immediately after you've sent something, I go, and this did happen recently to us, I said, that's an inflammatory text. They're in reactive mode, do not respond. And that's literally taking a breath, taking a beat and going, give it 24 hours, let it calm down. I'm not advising you that this is always going to be the best solution, but right now, the principle is to take a breath and slow down and don't react until you have got into, and the science here is the upper and lower brain. That's the simple way of describing it. We're talking about the reactive brain then, and there's this little diagram, I'm trying to remember, I think it was like this. I showed my children this, and now those of you can't see, I've got my hands clasped together, that the reactive brain is when that upper brain detaches from the reasoning and the rational, and it goes into reactive, which is the fight, flight. And when you're calm and you take a breath, you're able to connect back down the upper to the lower, and you're able, in simple terms, not brain science, that's like anything complex here, to rationally resolve and move forward in a way that curiosity can actually work. Curiosity doesn't mean that you lower your standards. For some of you who feel like that's just not going to work for me, you're not lowering your standards. It means you raise your chances of being heard. And that is what we want, isn't it? We want to be heard.
That's really good. That's really good. And another way is that if one breath isn't enough time, that's fair enough. The breath too in our body, of how to get our body into a more relaxed place, your breath has to be low in your body.
Yeah.
So rather than, if upper chest breathing has been well researched to show that it's part of a sympathetic nervous system drive. So it's just fight and flight. So you sort of can put your one hand up on your chest, one on your belly, and make sure your breath, if you do it right now, and breathe into your body, and you want to try and feel your lower hand move with your breath in, and then it comes back in on your breath out. So that's your lungs expanding and your belly moving. But if you only feel your upper hand, your chest move, you're upper breathing. And so it's shifted with it. I'm
guilty as charged. I do a lot of upper breathing when I'm stressed.
Yeah. And then the other thing, if I said it, you need more time. Just saying, well, I'm doing a workout now. I know I'm going to be more relaxed after that, or I'm just can let myself saute a little bit after my day. I'll be in a better place. I can just be more in touch with things, and I can get some, frustration out, or just get more centered, or be outside for 5 minutes. Like, I just need to do that. Let's just talk then. And you give them a place where you're going to talk, rather than that manipulative, like, oh, not now. And then, like, when are we going to have, we're going to have this important discussion and this important conversation. So you give value to it, but that it just might be in 20 minutes or
it's something. Being able to say to the person you love that right now, I know I'm going to be reactive, and if you give me a minute, we'll have a more productive conversation. And that's okay. Versus going and slamming the door and not talking for 3 days, the famous silent treatment, which actually is two people feeling like they're not being heard, and so shut down.
Or it's too uncomfortable, or just it's too overwhelming.
Too overwhelming. That's good, babe. That's good. That can be so true.
So it's like, do I love this person, and do I want to build a life with this person? And then the rest is like, well, let's build it. Let's do these tools. Let's do it.
So the takeaway here is, where do we default to criticism as a couple when we're actually asking for connection? So take that away with you this week and ask each other that. We would love for you to subscribe so that you don't miss an episode, and to help your friends out. If you know there's a marriage that's in need, share this with a friend. And we're on YouTube, we're on Instagram. Follow us there, find us there for weekly support. We are here to help you on your journey. We run Creative Restoration International, which is our registered not-for-profit to help restore marriages all around the world. And if this kind of work is something you believe in, and you would like to come on board as a monthly supporter for a marriage, to help a marriage in need, then you can find that at creativerestorationinternational.com.
And we have the 3-minute body, mind, heart reset, and that's on our website, andrewandlara.com.
All right, we'll see you next week. Bye, friends.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on today's Marriage, Intimacy and Healing. If this episode supported you, we'd love for you to download our free 3-minute BMH marriage reset at andrewandlara.com. It's the quickest way to shift out of stress and back into connection. And for deeper support and to explore our resources and coaching, you can find everything at andrewandlara.com.
Before you go, following the show or sharing this episode with another couple really helps more people find this kind of support. And we're so grateful when you do.
We're Andrew and Lara, and we'll see you next week.